Former CIA officer says media may have published leaked information to hurt Trump, a grave threat to our national security. A former CIA officer told Fox News host Neil Cavuto on Friday that the recent leak of information that caused Britain to stop sharing intelligence with the United States could have been part of the media's effort to make the Trump administration look bad. It's a possibility the New York Times knew what it was doing when it used sensitive information about the terrorist bombing in Manchester, England, and used it to take a shot at President Donald Trump. Former CIA officer Mike Baker told Fox News host Neil Cavuto on Cavuto's Your World show. Trump and American intelligence agency were castigated in Britain when the New York Times published details of the attack that, at the time, were only known to British and American intelligence agencies. Baker said the leaks will only stop if there are consequences. Baker said officials who have access to the material being leaked should be hauled in and made to take a lie detector test if necessary. That sentiment was shared by a former FBI official. If we start to punish other people, we'll get the message, said Ron Hasko, a former assistant director of the FBI who talked to Cavuto on Thursday. Trump has said he will work to identify the source of the leak. The alleged leak coming out of the government agencies are deeply troubling, Trump said. These leaks have been going on for a long time, and my administration will get to the bottom of this. The leaks of sensitive information pose a grave threat to our national security. I am asking the Department of Justice and other relevant agencies to launch a complete review of this matter, and, if appropriate, the culprit should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Failure to punish will embolden future leaks, Baker said. When you continue to lower the bar and you continue to normalize the idea that people can't keep their pie holes shut and it's okay because there's ultimately no consequences, then sure, you create this environment when suddenly you have news articles that contain only anonymous sources, Baker said. One analyst said publication of the level of detail the New York Times published could help other terrorists. Once we start coming down to very specific photographs and details of the bomber and device used, if you're a perpetrator who's aiming to make similar devices in the future, or indeed you're the person who made that device, you can learn something about its effectiveness and what is left by looking at the photographs in the New York Times. That is information you would not usually be able to come by, said Chris Westcott, a visiting senior research fellow at the International Center for Security Analysis. Let's take a quick listen here.
Okay, Operative Mike Baker. Mike, what are we to make of that? If we've gotten to the point where we're at least able to identify a few of the leakers, normally you shed light on those who are leaking stuff, it stops. What do you think?
Well, yeah, anytime you have a problem like this, it's essentially counterintelligence investigation. So what do? Well, you have to create a list of all those people, and I should add, on both sides of the water. Perhaps the British authorities have some specific information that says these leaks came directly from the U.S. I don't know that, so we're making a bit of a leap here to say that the leak didn't come from somebody on the British side, providing that information either directly to a New York Times individual or a middleman. But regardless, wherever the leak happens, what you do is you decide who has access to this information. And that's a relatively simple process at the 30,000-foot level. Who was given or had access to the sensitive material or the classified information, whatever it may be, and then you start working off that list. And in putting it in simple terms, you haul those people in and you talk to them very directly about their activities. And if you're in a position to, because perhaps they're in law enforcement or the intel community, then you polygraph them. I can't make it any simpler than that.
I wonder, though, and it goes beyond just any intelligence that might have been compromised regarding Britain, but it's some of the leaks we see that happen on a daily basis, and where news organizations seize on that regarding, let's say, Russia and the Trump campaign. If we're able to isolate that to those who work at the White House, I'm just beginning to wonder here whether it changes the complexion of this debate. That, you know, a lot of people in the past have not been really concerned about who's leaking, and a lot of Democrats certainly were during the campaign, less so now that it involves Republicans and this Russian intelligence. But would that change the game dramatically? Is it your experience that when leaks are exposed, leakers stop?
Well, if there's consequences, sure. And you're absolutely right to point this out, because not to get all, theoretical on this, but, over a period of time, when you continue to lower the bar and you continue to normalize the idea that, people can't keep their potholes shut and it's okay because there's ultimately no consequences, then sure, you create this environment where suddenly you have news articles that contain nothing but anonymous sources. And, so I think, but it's interesting. The New York Times came out with a bit of a nonsensical brief statement saying that, hey, it's none of our doing, the fact that the British authorities are completely, spun up over this. We handled this in a responsible manner. Well, which is, again, nonsensical. And I don't want to say that the New York Times might have willingly, knowingly, possibly, compromised or disrupted to some degree an ongoing terrorist investigation in the hopes of perhaps taking another shot at the Trump administration. But yes, I am saying that, yes.
Gotcha.
So that's a possibility.
That statement on your own there. Mike, thank you very, very much. Mike Baker, again, to Mike's point.
Absolutely true. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.